Hello friends, welcome back to the studio. I'm Kathleen from Be Again Books, and today I'm working on finishing this journal. You can see how pretty it is just from the layers, the waterfall effect. I've done some really fun kind of pockets, and I have one page left, right? So I have this page, and I thought, well, I could do a wraparound pocket. I could do maybe a top corner pocket. I need something for this page, but I kind of don't want another pocket. And you know how I've been loving these kind of around the page things. Yeah, I've already done that a couple of times. So I don't want to do just another around the page. I thought about doing an over the top of the page, but I picked up some scraps this morning. I had to straighten up a little bit. You can see kind of from the scraps around me that my studio's a mess because I've been working hard in this book. I literally pulled this off my skirt this morning, and I decided to use these scraps. Okay, so what am I going to do with them? Yeah, well, the other thing that happened is I knocked over a stack of vintage books and had to restack them, and this fell out. I'm pretty excited about this. It's a receipt. It says 3 records, 1 book, and 1 pouch, and a bell. I have no idea what that implies, but the rest is, you know, really pretty blank. And look, it's completely blank on the back, and it was folded. And so I thought, how nice. If I fold it this way and I just put that over there, that would be nice. But that looks still kind of a little plain. And so I went into my stash looking for something similar to this that I could layer. And I found this in, you know, the attribution page that was ripped out of a book. It says for my grandfather. So I decided I wanted to use this. So I have folded it. This is going to get layered over the top of this receipt. And we'll use, you know, this is not a rusty paper clip, but it's oxidized, and I put the curlicue on it. But so what I need to do is I'm going to use these little scraps from the floor. Let's put this aside. And I'm going to just make a little something. So what have we got? We've got a scrap of music. And the reason why this intrigued me was not just because it was a tiny scrap, but because of the shape of that tear. And I don't know how it was just torn off of something else and somehow dropped to the floor. But I kind of like the way that shape is. Can you see that against the black? Yeah. And then we've got a little tiny piece of this. I've used this several times in the journal already, so it will, you know, create some more unity. But it's a pretty tiny piece. But I think that I'm going to put that just on top of there. This is actually vegetable netting. It comes from a certain bag that has cantaloupe in it. And I like it. It's a plasticky material, but it's tan in color. It's not bright green or red or yellow. And so I think it matches the vintage vibe that I have. And then of course this is just some thread, as I say, that was riding on my skirt, and I picked that off and I thought, well, that's interesting. So we can just kind of fold that around itself and make a little something. So, you know, the music has history, right? So let me get my distress and we'll give that a little distress around the edges. I took piano lessons, so music has always been part of my life, and then I wanted to be a violinist, and so I kind of stopped the piano lessons and switched to the violin when I was about, I would say, 10 or 12 maybe years old. And I think I'm just gonna layer that like that. But my cousins also played the piano. I had 3 older cousins, and okay, now hang on, wait with the story and let me decide how the best way to attach that netting. And I have found that honestly the best way is to use a glue stick first and get the netting kind of stable, and then glue whatever I'm gluing on top of it. So, but before I put some glue down, I'm wondering, I kind of want to leave this neutral. There is, you can see there's a lot of color in this journal. I'm thinking of it as bright. And so let's get the chalks out and maybe just put a little bit of chalk behind there, and I think we'll just use let's just use the yellow to keep kind of the tones the same. So let's just put a little bit of color behind there. I need a clean cotton ball because I don't want to get the other colors in there. So we'll just kind of put a little bit of color behind it. You know, that creates the depth that I like. I like as many layers as I can squeeze in. So then I'm just going to put kind of a swipe of glue, and then we'll just pat that into place, and that will kind of hold that net until I can get the glue. This will help hold it down when I get that on top. I think I want it showing on top and bottom, so I'm going to shift that and put this kind of so that this will go kind of like that, I think. Yeah. Okay. I think once that's tucked in there, I think that just works really well. Yeah. All right, so now I can take my Fabri-Tac and we'll glue this down next. So if I have that kind of, that netting showing on the top and the bottom, instead of just the top, it'll look more random and seem like there's a little more movement, you know, in the final design. Okay, I like that. And now for the thread, if we just put that kind of right there. Let me get my little glue eraser. Hopefully we can pick up that glue. Yeah, good. These are, if you don't have one, they're really handy. I got this one at Dollar Tree, I think. But you can just Google rubber glue eraser and hopefully you can find one. But you can see it just picks up all the little bits of glue that get dropped on your project. Okay, so we need that there. And then I'm thinking that I want a button, just a thin button, like an old-fashioned mother of pearl button. So I'm gonna reach over to my right. I have on top of my file cabinet a whole bunch of little bottles. This one, most of them are organized by color or style or something, but this one is just miscellaneous, and sometimes I put things in there that obviously are not buttons, but just miscellaneous things. But this has been where I've been putting some buttons. Don't see it there. I've been putting buttons that are very tiny. Let's see if I can find one that will work. Oh, that one. I don't see one that I want. Oh, there's one that's really small. That might work. Because this paper is thin. And that's why. Oh, this one. This might work. Oh, that's nice. Interesting. I saw one in here. Oh, there. That's good. Sometimes I see things in here, you know, that I remember. Okay, I think it's a choice. It's a choice between this one and this one. Do I want round? I think I do. This is interesting, but it's very small. This one's a little larger. Yeah, I think we'll go with that one. So I will just remember that I have this one and I'll go back in there. I don't know, do you guys have these miscellaneous things that, these places where you keep things and you know that you should organize it, but you just don't ever get around to it? Yep. I have a couple of those kind of things. That little bottle's one. Okay, I need some thread in there. And I think maybe I'll use black thread. Hang on. Okay, I have my needle and some black thread. And I don't need much. So we're going to split this into 3. And all I'm going to do is a faux stitch. It always seems to take me 2 or 3 times to thread the needle. And of course, now that my eyesight is poor, it takes me longer. And it seems like my fingers are also fat, so yeah. Okay, I just need to bring this up. Here's the needle. I just need to bring it up. And then, for heaven's sakes. Okay, we'll try it again. Here we go. I just need to get enough in there Okay, this is quiet work. Oh, good grief. All right, we'll just start with another piece of thread that is a little longer. Where's the end? There's the end. Okay, obviously I just needed a little bit longer of a piece. And it doesn't help that it's black, right? I want black because of the notes and the writing, but I don't know if you've ever noticed, but black is a difficult color to see, especially when you're half blind. All right, now we'll try this again and you'll see how easy it is this time. Right, okay. If I put that against the white paper, then I can see it better. All right, now I'll go down and up, down and up. And since we have enough thread, let's just do it one more time. I want these loose threads on the top. And now I have created enough thread on the back of the button that when I glue it, then that will secure it. So let me put this needle back. Because otherwise I will lose it. And then I'm just going to hold on to these ends while I glue this down. Put a little bit of glue. And then I'm just going to, I wonder if I need to put some glue just stay there right there for a minute. Let's put some glue, some flat glue right here where we want this to be. And that'll just kind of help glue that down. I want it loose, but that's very loose. Okay, now can you see where I'm going to put the button right there? All right, we'll just allow that to dry for half a minute. Let's put this other stuff kind of away. All right, and now we'll take, I think we'll use these little scissors. We'll take this and snip that off, and then we'll just let that be funky. There we go. I kind of like that. I do. So both of my grandfathers died before I really knew them. The one before I was born, and my father's father when I was only about a year and a half or 2 years old. So I just didn't know them well, but I had really loving grandmothers. And that made up for it. But this, I still like to think of my grandfathers still. So that's a nice memory. It's not going to go in my book, but it's going to go in someone's book. And someone will be able to think about their grandfather. So we'll put that there, and that pins on. And I think that makes a nice page in this journal. So the other side, I like these numbers here, this writing, but I think this might need a little something here. So let's take that off for another minute. And I'm thinking that maybe let's just do a stamp. Hang on. All right, let's do this little bird cage. I think that would be nice, just right there in the corner. We could, you know what we could do? I've got these scraps over here. Look, I've got this little piece of, it's vintage paper. It's got this pretty foxing on it. We could maybe just stamp it on there first, right? In case it doesn't come out well, then I'm not gonna mess up this piece. So let me get my book. Let's see if I can stamp a few of these. That's gonna look good, I think. Let's see how this looks. All right, let's just tear that. Let's see what that does. I kind of like the way this vintage, honestly, I've got a waterfall over here. I like the way that kind of looks with this color too. Just adds a little more color. Yeah, maybe a little too big. So let me trim that down a little and round the corners. There we go. That took most of the foxing off, but I know that this is having a hard time. Yeah. Let me get a scrap. This is a tip. If you've got the same thing happening, then just put 2 layers and it will cut it easier, right? Yep, it will. Now I need another corner. So this video is pretty raw. This is just me working in my studio today, and I don't know how well this video will do, because my videos haven't been doing that great, even the ones that I have spent a lot of time on, so who knows? We'll see. I knew there would be consequences for me not posting as often. The algorithm just becomes unfriendly, and I can't do anything about that. So there we go. Yeah, that's still kind of 2 dimensions, so I'm not sure what to do, whether I could put just some more color behind there. Let's get the chalks back out. And put some more color. I don't really want a lot more color. I just want a little more depth. Let's maybe add some of this gray. What will that do? I don't know. Let's experiment. Okay, good. I'm going to let it go at that. So let's glue this down. Sometimes, you know, I think the tiniest scraps, just little things that are, you know, that you just think you would throw away, they can find a home in your journals. I don't know. What do you think? Do you agree? There. That's good. I think that chalk just adds the most subtle bit, but really, I think that helps. I am sold on depth. I think of all of the principles of art that have been the most useful to me as a junk journaler, I think depth. And I think that we'll switch it and put the little one on this side because there's more going on, and we'll let the curlicue live on this side. What do you think? I like this. So this decorates that page. And now this page has 2 journaling papers. So there's room to journal here. There's lots of room here. There's room on this one, on this side, and there's lots of room there on the back. So, and it's bonus, it's an around the page element that I'm just really liking. So, I don't know. Tell me what you think. Thanks for spending your time with me today. I appreciate it and appreciate your support and the sense of community that I feel here. I'll be back, hopefully this next week, with a flip through of this journal.